Friends, welcome to our platform. Today I am addressing myself to a very unfortunate trend that is gaining traction in our struggle and even in our society generally. The question of tribalism. Today it is fashionable to blame Westerners for everything that goes wrong. You Westerners is a swear word that is hurled at every Westerner at the slightest provocation. And the reason being that President Museveni hails from the West. Now, this unfortunate, kind of thinking has its roots right from the colonial struggles, when the African nationalists organized the country and even the continent on race, and complexion was used to define who was the friend and who was the enemy. So, skin color, simplistic as it was used to explain very complex political, economic, and social phenomena. And it was effective because it provided easy identification of the enemy. So when we got independence, this template, this blueprint was carried over. And this time, the race, the skin color, was replaced by the tribe and religion. So, the tribe that is in power, the tribe of the president in power, was seen to collectively wield power, even though majority of the tribesmates did not benefit anything from the government. By the same token, the tribes outside power, and especially the politicians, mobilized their tribes and explained to them that all the problems they were facing was because of the tribe in power, and that therefore every tribesmate had to rally around the tribal totem pole to make sure that they also get power and that they also get their turn to eat. Now, unfortunately, this is a trend that has carried on since independence, more than 6 decades after we acquired power. And that is why Westerners are blamed just because Museveni is a Westerner. It is not uncommon to find slum dwellers biting their fingers with hatred and swearing at their other slum dwellers who happen to come from the West, promising them how they will be burnt and how they will suffer retribution the day Museveni falls. Now, when you look at the lives of these slum dwellers, wherever they hail from, whether they are from the West or East or North, they all suffer the same problems. Their children go to the same neglected schools. Their children swim in the same sewage water. They all die of curable diseases like malaria because they cannot afford, the very basic treatment for their children. They all left their villages to come and hustle in Kampala to eke a living. But the others, blinded by hatred, think that this one somehow is surviving because the government distributes goodies, free goodies to them. Now, the leaders have not helped in this. Most of the leaders who hail from other regions sometimes will make very noble statements about national unity. But when they meet their people, they fan the flames of tribal hatred. Those leaders that do not actively fan the flames choose to keep quiet when they hear their followers, spitting out these tribal chants. Why? Because they want to carry favor with their followers, to be seen to be of the same mind with their supporters. So they don't, come out openly to disabuse them of such kind of thinking, just to be seen to be on the same side with their followers. The leaders from the West don't want to talk about this issue. They want to gloss over it and treat it as if it's something, flimsy, something small that can be overlooked. They want to cover the wound. But the best way to treat a disease is to open the wound to light and air. Covering up will only make it fester. And that's why I've decided to come and address it today. Now, we have walked this path before. When Amin came to power and he was attacked in 1972, he lashed out at the Acholis and Langis. He massacred them. Why? Because their kinsmen in Tanzania had invaded him. When he was defeated in 1979, the Westerners ran to exile, to Zaire and to Sudan. When the Okero regime fell, the Acholis ran to exile in Sudan. So the question is, for how long is this cycle going to carry on? That people run on the tide of tribalism, capture power, carry out retribution against the people, innocent people who happened to share a tribe with the fallen regime. When they fall out, the same, follows them. And we have seen this cycle for 60 years, and we are still sowing the seeds, preparing the ground for the same to happen. When Joseph Kony attacked Baronyo internally displaced people's camp in Lira, I think it was in 2004, the Acholis in Lira were attacked by Langis. Why? Because Joseph Kony is an Acholi and he had killed Langis. But these Acholis in Lira had run away from Kony. But they were saying, it's your son that did it. So for how long are we going to carry on with collective guilt? It is time those that surely love this country stood up to put an end to this, very unfortunate tribal sentiments. Those that tribalize the struggle that we are involved in, those that, use tribal prisms to understand social phenomena, trivialize the values that we stand for as a country. Uganda can only survive with all its constituent, diverse groups. That's what makes Uganda. Yes, we are different and we must celebrate our diversity. Diversity must not translate to animosity. So when a minister steals that is not from the West, they rally and say, no, this is our child. They demonstrate. We have seen them. They come out to defend their own, but conveniently pass the buck to Westerners, many of whom have nothing to do with government. So this government has been propped up by all regions of this country, because there is no region that is not represented in that government. This government is not voted for by Westerners only. There are many regions. I don't have to name them. Just get the list of members of parliament and see how many members of parliament come from the West that support government and other regions. So you vote this government into power. You send your sons and daughters into this government. They steal. You say, oh, those are our sons, don't touch them. And then you have the audacity to come and blame every Westerner. It's time that we stepped back and have a clear appreciation of the situation we are dealing with, of the problems that confront us as a country, and see how to deal with them. But seeking very simplistic explanations to the situations that face us is not going to help us. Because retribution will only create conflict. It will lead to civil war. Look at all countries where you have one group throwing out the other and pursuing an agenda of retribution. They never get peace. The reason northern Uganda had war for all that time was because of this retribution thing that Museveni came with. The reason Congo is where it is because of those tribal sentiments. So if we want to build a peaceful Uganda, we must do away with this template that criminalizes ancestry, that thinks, that runs on the thinking that if a Madi or an Acholi or a Muganda or a Mugisu or a Munyankore holds power, therefore all those tribesmates of this one person are culpable in the crimes committed by the regime. It is unfair, it is unjust. You cannot build a just society on a foundation of injustice. Indeed, I repeat, those that tribalize our struggle trivialize it. Thank you very much.